But wait, aren't you so mad at Gretchen for telling me?
I'm not mad. I mean, I guess she just likes the attention.
See, Gretchen, I told you she's not mad at you.
I can't believe you think I like attention.
Okay, love ya. See you tomorrow.
The movie Mean Girls offers a comical yet true-to-life glimpse into the world of girl-against-girl bullying. But in reality, there's nothing funny about being the victim of a school bully or a group of bullies. And that's where Dr. Andie comes in. She's the author of The Best Investment, Unlocking the Secret to Social Success for Your Child. And she's here to share some coping strategies that parents can share with their kids on dealing with and avoiding bullies. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we're talking about bullying, and it happens at what point? What point does bullying start? What age?
Bullying can start as soon as children start dealing with friendships, and that can start usually in preschool.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're looking at Mean Girls, and that was a movie that got a lot of attention,
absolutely.
probably because it really does ring true. How can you help your child deal with that? I know that there's a difference between girl-on-girl bullying and boy-on-boy bullying. Let's talk about that first.
Okay. Let me first, before we even talk about the differences, let me just give a definition of bullying, because bullying has three components. The first thing it has is it's deliberate. It's something that happens and it's intentional.
And it happens over and over again, I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the other component. It is repeated occurrences. It's not just one incident. And the last component is it's about power, and it's about the abuse of power. Now, boys and girls bully differently. Boys use more of that physical, pushing, shoving, fighting type of thing, the type of thing that we usually kind of think about bullying. But girls are much more subtle and much more indirect in the way that they bully. And they use things what are called relational bullying techniques. And this is more like they use humiliation, alienation, exclusion,
We use our
spreading
tongues.
rumors. We use a lot of verbal things to get back. And, Lori, but keep in mind that both types of aggression are equally just as devastating on that victim who's being bullied.
Well, let's talk about, because we're speaking mainly about girls today, and let's talk about some of the things that you can do to help your child, equip your child for situations like this. The first thing that you say is you have to help your girls learn to express their feelings.
That's correct. We still live in a good girl culture, which means we teach our girls to be kind and sweet and nurturing, which are all wonderful qualities. However, we need to help them express themselves appropriately. So, for example, if, let's say, a girl did not get invited to a birthday party, instead of, what you could do is you can say to your daughter, hey, why don't you just say, if you got upset, say, I feel sad or I feel angry that I didn't get invited to your birthday party, instead of, giving her the cold shoulder or writing her a nasty note, or worse yet, having your friends gang up against her.
And so that expression does what for her? It just gets her emotions out there as opposed to letting them build up?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. Second of all, you say you have to explain how to have well-balanced relationships.
And again, that starts as early as preschool, because that's when children are beginning to explore that nature of friendship. And so parents can show that, a well-balanced friendship is when you know how to be a good friend and what their needs are, but also you know how to respect and value your needs too, and be able to express that appropriately.
I was going to say, I think some adults have problems with well-balanced friendships as well.
Absolutely, and that's why we need to instill this in our children very young.
It can't be one way.
No.
You can't be the one doing all the giving or all the taking.
That's exactly correct.
Okay, all right. You also say you should talk about empathetic behavior, because a lot of times I would assume that in bullying it's like all of us against one.
That's correct. And in my book, The Best Investment, I talk about that empathy is probably the #1 quintessential social skill, because it's the ability to identify and to understand how someone else is feeling, their motives and their situations. So you can say to your daughter, how do you think it would feel if someone spread a rumor about you, or that someone was whispering about you? How would you feel if that happened to you?
And so then you try to get them to understand what other people are going through.
By you dealing with how you're feeling about it.
Okay. You also say to teach them how to recognize a true friend, because I think a lot of times, in friendships and when you're younger, you think, oh, well, she's my friend even though she talked about me, or she's my friend even though.
That's right. And so if we tell children, hey, this is what a true friend is. They're loyal, they're trustworthy, they're cooperative, they're empathetic, they're there for you. Bullies, by the way, do not exude those type of qualities.
Okay. And then you encourage children to report if anything should happen, you want them to make sure that they tell you about it.
That's correct. And I think children also need to know, and we need to explain to them what the difference is between reporting, which is helping, and tattling, which is much more, which is a way of basically saying something, telling on somebody, but in a hurtful way. And a lot of times children don't like to report these type of bullying incidents because they don't, they think they're going to be called a tattler. But that's not true. This is a good time for teachers or parents to intercede in something like this.
Now I have to ask Dr. Andie, what do you do if you're the parent and someone comes to you and says, your child is bullying my child?
That's a good question, and I tell parents two things. One is you need to sit down with your child and talk about what happened. What were you doing that could have allowed that child to come back to you? And a lot of times I think the best thing to do is let the kids work that out too, and together, and you can do that together with them. Because what happens is when two parents are talking about it, they end up fighting and the kids make up and everybody.
Right. But you want to make sure you're not raising a child who's bullying other kids too.
No, you really don't. And I think it's important. And I think if we started very early on in teaching important social and emotional skills, I really think, Lori, we'll be dealing with a lot less bullying around.
I think you're right. The Best Investment is the name of the book, Unlocking the Secrets of Social Success for Your Child. Dr. Andie, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Some great advice. Thank you.